Awesome. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Humanity's Values. We've got another interview for you, and she's a returning guest because it's my show and I get to invite anybody else back I want. So it's called Authority, and I have it here.
Oh,
So
good.
welcome back, Heather Hester, author of Parenting LGBTQ Teen. And we had a fantastic conversation last time. And so wanted to keep it up, and especially with the holidays coming along. And we'll get into that in a bit. But welcome, Heather.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back. I'm very excied.
Yeah.
We've been chit-chatting for a while here, so y'all have
We had
missed
to get the
out on
coach
some good stuff. That's
rolling.
right. We're gonna we're gonna record the rest of our really awesome conversation that we've been having.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I mean, everybody else had to tune in earlier because really all the good stuff was already covered.
I know.
It's,
Sorry.
yeah.
I think maybe we saved maybe a topic or two.
Maybe we'll see what we can get to. Yeah. All right. So okay. So you have your own show as well, and More Human, More Kind, and in podcasts. And there was a recent one that I saw that was concerning, of course, the upcoming Halloween, which is, I swear, over the year it ebbs and flows for me as to whether or not it's like my favorite holiday, but it's on the ascendancy again. So yeah, and not because of candy.
No. I mean, that just
Yeah.
kind of stays consistent, right?
It's the sugar is yeah, it never ceases to be our
That's right,
friend.
exactly. That always is right at the top. Yes, I have always loved Halloween, even
Mhm.
before I had kids. I've always loved decorating for it. It's my favorite. And the past few years, as they've gotten older and have been moving out of the house. And of course, last year was just one. Now I have one back, so there's two. But I'd kind of stopped. Like I was pulling back on that decorating, and my youngest was like, "What are you doing? Like, we have to decorate." I'm like, "You're literally 17. Why do you care?" But they do. It's very funny. And I think it's the whole, like, it's the energy of Halloween, and it's the energy of part of it is fall. And I've always, just enjoyed like the stories. Like, we've had all of the traditions, right? So it's not just the decorations, it's the costumes, it's the Halloween movies, all of the
Mhm.
And, that used to be like a big time for like pulling out all the Harry Potter stuff and
Yeah.
reading those. Let's try to get through it one more time because there's
Mhm.
too much of that. So yeah, so this year when I was putting together content for October, I was like, we're gonna talk about all of this stuff because there's layers of just analogy, and I don't think that's the word I'm looking for, but there's layers of just meaning in costumes, and from just the slightest, the easiest to just, oh my goodness. So I've had a fun October content wise as well for my podcast.
Nice. Excellent. Well, and that's, I mean, like before we were talking about, parenting, but also the struggles of teenagers, and really costumes bring up identity. I mean, it just fundamentally, like, who are we? What are the new outfits we're putting on? When I was, kind of working in the late 80s, early 90s, it was a big thing around like you put on your work hat when you come in. It was always this analogy of you're putting on this persona, which was expected, and weirdly, when it comes to work, like things went through this weird personal stage where everybody got slack, and the boundaries between work and personal got blurred, much to the chagrin, I think, of many employers out there. And they're starting to pull back from that. But it still brings up rather that notion of we put on identities, we put on new outfits, so to speak,
Right,
to try new things out
right.
and figure out how we respond to life. And there's nothing unreal about it. It's just context. I mean, it's all good. Like, yeah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
how do you see, so you've got kids. So how excited are they for kind of trying on new things?
For trying on new things. Mine are a little bit older, and I think I wrote the specific episode about costumes thinking about kids who are a little bit younger.
Uh-huh.
like elementary age, junior high age, where they're really starting to, I mean, it could be really be any age, right? I mean, putting on a costume is, at the most basic sense, it's I'm trying on something. I see something that I like that I'm like, oh, I want to see what that looks like on me. So, in the most basic sense, it is something that catches their eye and they think that looks fun.
Mhm.
I wanna try that on. And Halloween is the one time of year where, as parents, we can say, "Yeah, try it on," and not really think about it. But I
And not worry about it, yeah.
and not worry about it, but I brought this up because I really wanted to encourage parents to think of it as an opportunity to connect with their child on a deeper level of,
Mhm.
why did you choose that costume? And to not, I remember when my kids were younger, parents that I knew who would kind of freak out about, what is a boy costume, quote unquote boy
Right.
costume, right? And what is a
Yeah.
quote unquote girl costume? And and thinking, why does it matter?
Mhm.
Right? Just let our kids, like, let them try on what they want to try. And so
Right.
that was also part of this, was, if your child picks out a costume that makes you feel uncomfortable or makes you worry for some reason, like, first of all, check in with yourself.
Mhm.
Why are you like, why does that make you uncomfortable? Why is that hitting some weird note for you? But then ask them, why do you like this costume? Like,
Mhm.
just get really curious instead of freaking out or getting scared or worried. Just get curious. And I think that's, one of the easiest ways to kind of get through all those uncomfortable feelings. I mean, I will say that what are my kids dressing up, to answer your question? My 18-year-old is dressing up with his buddy as a Fight Club. So
Nice.
there's
Okay.
a callback. Yeah, the long timer throwback. And then I'm actually not sure what Grace is dressing up as. So Grace is my one who's at Savannah College of Art and Design, my 20-year-old. My 22-year-old is dressing up with three of her college friends as the
Mhm.
different Britney Spears costume, which is, that's been around for a while. She's doing the snake Britney Spears one. So we're
Oh,
very
yeah.
excited about that. And then just the most, I mean, there's a couple, of course, Connor has a couple of different parties,
Right.
gatherings, all the things to go to in New York. But I think my favorite costume for him is, he's doing sexy Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc.
Okay.
There
That's
it is.
awesome.
So, this is parents, they
Yeah.
just do. They just are. I mean, and yes, you're all thinking, well, your kids are older. It's easier for you to say that. It doesn't matter,
It doesn't
right?
matter. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
your 8-year-old wants to be a princess, let him be a princess. Let her
Mhm.
be a princess,
Right.
right? Let
Does
them
this
be a
really matter?
princess. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Isabel, when she was in 5th grade, dressed up as Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Like, literally, like, the Spider-Man costume that had all, like, the muscles in it.
Heck yeah. Nice.
Still one of my
Nice.
favorite when it comes up. I die of laughter every single time. And if for no other reason than to just like, encourage you to think about it, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
spark curiosity of some kind, right?
And the flexibility of how you think about yourself.
Exactly.
Man, the number of people, it's one of the fundamental things I work with clients on is just like, get out of this rigid notion of how you hold yourself. You are not, none of us are nearly as shallowly understood as we weirdly hold ourselves to. It's like there are so many variations in how we can show up. It's one of the reasons I love, like alternative universe storylines. Is like you take that kernel and then run with it. If you just tweak this a little bit. I mean, speaking of Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse,
Right?
fantastic. One, brilliant freaking writing.
I
But
know.
two,
Yeah.
so much fun, all of these iterations.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, you tweak a little bit here and there, and all of a sudden but you can still identify both the difference and the continuity of the person who's taking this on to express themselves differently. And
Exactly.
why not have fun with it?
Why
Like,
not?
what's so scary about this, really? This is
Exactly. Exactly. When
yeah.
I think it's such a great thing for us to give our kids the freedom to do when they're young,
Mhm.
to say, "This is cool.
Yeah.
Why are you thinking that?" Or, "This is really fun that you thought of this costume," or, "This is the reason you thought of this costume," right?
Mhm.
And I think in doing that too, it allows us as adults a little bit of latitude to be able to do that as well.
Yeah.
And right? So it makes us kind of step out of that, like you just said, that rigid. We've gotten into such a habit, whether it's because it feels safe or it's because this is just what we learned, of being just like putting ourselves into such a narrow box when really nothing in life fits in that narrow box.
Mhm.
Everything is on a spectrum. Everything is gray, shades of it's really multicolored. It's not shades of gray, but it's
Yeah.
neither black or white. And we try to make it black and white, right? We try to make checks in these boxes and nothing is like that. So I
Mm-mm.
think if we can like take a breath and be like, "Oh, wait, okay, so it's okay." And think about even for yourself, like, what is something that you would do, whether it's something that you would say, something you would write, something that you would try if there were no consequences, if there were nothing
Mhm.
out there that would make you feel uncomfortable, whatever that is, right? What is that? And like think about how that would feel for you to be able to step into that space just for a moment. I mean, why do we think that fantasy is one of the top genres?
Right.
I mean, come
Yes.
on. I mean,
Mhm.
and there's so many different
Yeah.
types of fantasy, but I think fantasy is one of those things that like taps into that, right? That's like, I'll take this one little piece of like whatever it is. Like, for instance, and this is I bring this up because my daughter just got me into this, but Outlander, which it takes time travel, right? And then builds this entire story around time travel. And it is
Mhm.
brilliant. And it is I mean, that's eye candy is what that is. But
Yeah,
I
the show. Yeah.
the show, yes. The books are actually, I read the books too. I've been reading the books too because
Mhm.
I'm one that likes to read. If there's a show or a movie, I have to read too. And they are fun, but they're a lot. Like, they're kind
They're
of
a
like the
lot.
Game of
They're
Thrones
like
books,
1,000
like,
pages apiece. They're a
good
little crazy.
gracious.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
So, the show is I can't do. But,
Who doesn't want a
yes.
little Frasier in their life? I
I
mean, come on.
mean exactly. But the point is, it takes one little piece, right? And
Yeah.
then there's this whole story. So what is your little piece, right? I always think about, like, what is
Mhm.
your one thing that you're like, "Ooh, I could build an entire story around that," or
Mhm.
I wanna go try that out because I'm interested in this one little thing. So I'd like to go, you know, take a class or go to this exhibit or read this book or whatever it is. I mean, I don't know. They're all cost
Absolutely. What's that phrase there of, like, what is this little bit that drew you to it? And, speaking of books, it's like I recently just finished up called Selfless by Brian Lowry. Highly recommend. And I say that even if I have some criticism, because I have criticism about everything. So that's not new. But but it is like he really went into this whole notion of like the self as a combination of individual desire coupled with social or in group allowance. So, and the tension that sometimes happens with where we want, like individually, we want to take on and walk into the realms that some of these other identities and selves, so to speak, possess. And we want that. But the process of taking that on sometimes comes with baggage, or at other times comes with awkwardness in the acceptance level of those around us. So, like, who cares if your kid, he, she, they want to put on a different costume of whatever that is supposedly, well, that's a boy costume, or that's a girl costume. As if the costumes are sitting up going, excuse me, but I have pronouns. Like, no, they're costumes. Like, really, like this is it's literally fabric. They
exactly.
don't care where, and but that brings into that tension. Like, we want And there's the conversation I have with the kids as well, and really anybody who likes to just dress up with anything. It's just like, what are you wanting to express? What are you wanting to hold on to? What enticed you? What do you want to bring into your own life for however long this may be that you thought maybe was missing or just wanted to have some fun exploring?
Right.
And Halloween is all about that,
It
among so many
is.
other things, but Halloween in particular.
It is. Well, I feel like Halloween encourages that, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of built around that. So if
Hmm.
no other time of year, there's this one day
Yep.
or 1 week or whatever, right, where it's encouraged.
Hmm. And why not have there's so many other times to be serious. Why?
I mean,
Like
literally. Yeah.
yeah.
And I life is way too short to allow those things to control you,
Mhm,
to, um or to have you controlled by them, to be moved by them, to make your decisions around them, the worry of what will other people think, because that's really what it is. That's what it comes down to. And to be able to take a breath and be like, "Yeah, got it. I see you, but I need for you to stay over there because I want to try this, or I
mhm,
want to let my kid try this. And I don't want to have to worry about what so and so is thinking."
mhm,
And it comes up in a million different ways, and it sometimes come up in ways that totally surprise you. I was the other night, we were hosting people. We have a big gumbo party every year, and we had a bunch of people here at our house, and there were a lot of different groups of people, and I was sitting with a bunch of parents who were baseball parents. My youngest is a baseball player. He wants to go to
mhm,
college to I mean, that's what he wants to do, is play baseball. And so, all these kids are seniors in high school, so they're doing the senior in high school thing and applying to colleges and doing all of that, and he's really super focused. Like, he wants to go, that's what he wants to do. And a bunch of his buddies are like, the moms were all like, "Well, we don't want them to waste their time with this. We don't want them to, we want them to go to whatever, whatever the thing is." And I sat there and it was like such an interesting experiment, even for me, because I caught myself feeling uncomfortable, being like, well, this is kind of annoying. Like, they know that's what my kid wants to do, right?
right.
And they're saying these things that are like kind of judgy and weird. And I'm like, that's interesting. And then I was like, it's not about me. It's not about him.
It is so not.
Right?
Nope.
Like, that is so, like, their thing with their kid and what they're looking for and their stuff. That's their
Mhm,
stuff. And it was such an interesting, like, as I'm sitting there not saying anything, and I'm like, "Epiphany. Oh, that was fun. Okay, I'm gonna get up and talk to the next group." Like, like, I get to do the host thing and, like, float in and out of everything. So, but I was like later on, I was telling my husband about it. I was like, "This was such a, like, crazy thing." And of course, he's always like, "Okay."
It's like, yes, personal growth. Yep,
Exactly. He's like,
okay.
"Bravo." He wouldn't even have thought about it for 2 seconds. He would have been like, "Whatever."
Like, I already moved on. Like, you're fine.
Like, these are the things I think about.
Yep.
I
No.
bring that up just to say it's okay because these things
Mhm.
pop up at the weirdest times.
They do. And hence all the more reason to hold things lightly. It's like, several sessions this last week, things seem to go in themes and or at least I'm certainly drawing the themes. And the this idea of like quite often with like cognitive behavioral therapy, it's often end up being portrayed as like thought replacement. And you kind of go like, this is a bad or wrong thought, and I have to go on to this other one, or this is inaccurate, which is fundamentally why I'm not a CBT therapist. Even though I like some of the tools,
Right. Right,
the
I get it.
fundamental like assumptions that go along with it, I just don't agree. And
Mhm.
and that's one of them. And it's
Yeah,
one of those where it's like, because none of us are choosing the thoughts that come up, none of us choose the emotions that come up in our lives. Therefore, to be proud and or shaming about any of them is
right,
equally absurd.
right.
Instead, we don't dismiss them, because one, good luck. But two, like, you're not getting rid of them. And their thoughts are
No.
there. So instead, it's just kind of like, oh, You showed up. What do you have to say about this? Maybe you're full of
Exactly.
crap. I don't know. But let
Right.
me ask some more clarifying questions. Like if there's a judgment, okay,
Yeah.
show me your cards. Let's lay it on the table. Maybe the judgment is based on nonsensical garbage. I don't know, but until I find, I follow through and hold those thought in that kind of light, lightness of going, this is just a guess. This is just
Right.
trying to figure stuff out. Like it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Back to that like multiversal stuff. It's possibilities. Could be wrong. Could be complete garbage. What are we
Right.
gonna find? Okay, well, and then now I can move on to the next one, and it's okay. So people are making judgments. That's on them.
That's on them.
I can hear it. I
Sometimes.
can go,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I feel like sometimes the thought just needs to be acknowledged, and then
"Mhm."
it goes, right? Okay.
Just
I
hold the
see you.
space for it.
Yep.
Yeah, it
You
doesn't
you
make it
are
right.
that's right. Exactly. And I like that, to not assign value
Mhm.
to every single thought and feeling that you have because boy,
Right.
is that exhausting.
Yep. This is why it's like having fun with absurdity. It's like the reality is most of the thoughts, I don't know about you, but I have some really absurdly dumb thoughts. And I use dumb in the most like just non-judgmental of words. I mean, it's just like this is just like, really?
Right? I know.
Why? It's like, okay, moving on. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
exactly.
Yeah.
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 Next. Yeah.
Hence having fun with costumes, but also having fun then with like, we're entering into, of course, the holiday season.
Yes.
And the idea, of course, that, there's a lot of extra emotional weight to them. And for a lot of very obvious and good historical reasons and personal reasons, because, well, shoot, I mean, it's literally we're inundated with, the stories and our own personal histories of what all this meant. So with that, what do you see? If you noticed, I guess personally, we'll start with personal kind of broaden it out. The have you seen any difference? Was there a point with, say, the evolution of your own family and how you were working with your kids and kind of going, "Oh, I need to shift this," or that, or "No, I love this tradition. This is awesome. I love what this is doing." So, yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, yeah, there yes to all of that. My kids, I've realized as I've gotten older, I mean, they've
Mhm,
become more vocal about it too, but love tradition. So, like I was
mhm,
saying, with all the Halloween stuff, like that is tradition, right? And that is just something. And I think too, when they go away to college and they come home, like there are certain things that are just really important that we do, whether it's a certain meal or a certain game we play, or I have the Christmas tree in a certain spot. I mean, like, literally, I moved it one year and, whoo, boy,
yeah.
was that upsetting. It was moved. It wasn't even like I took it, didn't put it up. It just was moved. But I will say, I think more for me, and then through them, there were a lot of shoulds when they
Mm,
were younger,
mhm,
we should do this. This is I'm feeling guilty. I'm feeling like this is what we're supposed to do this.
mhm,
And we would, I mean, one thing we used to do every single year would be we would get up and drive 6 hours from where we live to where my parents live on Christmas Day when our kids were little because they
mhm.
wanted us at their house on Christmas Day until I finally was like, "This is insanity. What are we doing? This
Yeah.
isn't about you. We're not doing that anymore. We'll come down a day or 2 after Christmas," right? And so it became like those things where you, like, realize all of a sudden, like, what on earth am I doing to like just twisting myself in knots and doing things that are like really dangerous.
Mhm,
And so there's pieces like that where I would say like it is okay to step back and take a look at things and maybe you've always done it, right? Just because you've always done it doesn't mean that it still works for you or that it's okay or that it is perhaps the healthiest choice for you or for your family. And so that was one of the bigger gifts that we got just from beginning to shift. When Connor came out and beginning all of the shifting and growing and acknowledging and all the things was kind of that freedom to be able to stop and say, does this still make a lot of sense?
Mhm.
And why am I still having this conversation when this other person isn't willing to compromise or come meet me halfway? Or, it's something that I've realized just in the past year that in a certain relationship, I was the one that made, I'm gonna make it okay. I'm gonna make it work.
Right.
I'm gonna do everything that I can do to make this work. And then I realized that I was doing what I was doing, right?
Mhm.
And it was becoming more and more difficult because of everything going on with my kids, and so kind of
Right.
butting up against the rhetoric came to mind, but just the
Uh-huh.
the 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 judgment, the values, the words that were coming out of these people's mouths that
Mhm.
were just hurtful and painful, and there was not ever there was no compromise there. There was no,
Mm.
like, let's either meet somewhere, halfway, or agree not to talk about it, right?
Right.
Agree to just respect that we do not agree.
Silence
And,
is a
I mean, silence is perfectly okay. And if that doesn't happen, if you have requested that in every possible way, it is perfectly okay, which took me a long time to
Mm.
say, well, then me twisting myself in knots is not okay.
Right.
And in doing that, I've had this, like, it has been this realization in the past 6 months once I just stopped doing everything, realizing, like, I was actually doing all of the work. Like, they they haven't picked up any of the slack, and so when that happened, there's no relationship
Yeah. This has been one way this whole time.
this whole time. It is,
What am I getting out of it?
and
Yeah.
it is devastating. I mean, so
Mhm.
don't discount that for yourself. If you I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
is okay to feel grief, and it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to
Mhm.
be angry, and it's okay to be all of those things. It's also okay to make these decisions for yourself and for your kids, and
Mhm.
especially if you are doing it to protect your kids.
Right.
1,000% okay. So,
Mhm.
that is my very long answer to upcoming gatherings, whether they are family gatherings or gatherings that you've always done with, longtime friends or whatever it is. If it doesn't work for you anymore, it's okay. It doesn't
It's
work for
alright.
you anymore.
Yeah.
You're an adult.
Yep. 100%. Well, and that's like the safety piece, the shifting values, or at least the shifting ways that we define them and prioritize them.
Right.
That changes. And this notion that because it's easy to go when we look at traditions to kind of go, well, this is how I've always done it. But really, like you're saying, it applies to literally any number of other areas of our life, including friendships and other relationships that we have with people. We're like, well, we've always done it this way. This is how we've always related. That doesn't mean that it has to persist in that way. And in fact, this goes into this principle I work with a lot on that I developed around yet the yes and principle.
Oh,
Like you've said yes to one thing, own it, acknowledge it, accept this is what I've done. And there are ripple effects that come along for the ride. Now
yep.
you may not be explicitly saying yes to those things. You may not even agree fully with all of those things. But because we can't control everything, those things are inevitably going to come along for the ride when we've said yes to this one thing at the beginning. And it
Right.
doesn't mean that we have to all of a sudden make peace with it in the sense that I'm now okay with it. But when it comes to relationships, like, okay, I've said yes to this person, and here's the rest of the stuff that comes along. But it doesn't mean that I have to keep saying yes all the time. And that's why it's so important, like, reevaluate to be able to go, I'm kind of saying yes in a kind of second and third order of operations sense to these other things. is that still what I want to deal with?
Right.
We make these decisions with
Right.
work. We make these
Exactly.
decisions with shoot, I talk with so many people in marriages, like you said, yes. And what else came along for the ride? Not saying you have to put up with everything, obviously, work with a lot of TV situations. But at the same time, it is that kind of like, well, wait a minute, really, really take stock of the fact that this came along and you don't have to keep up with it. Just because you said yes to the one thing does not mean two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, is something that you have to be okay with or put up with to the same degree.
Absolutely.
Take the time,
My
see
goodness,
what's
yeah.
working for you.
I think
Yeah.
that is such a great way of looking at that. I think we do get very hung up on kind of the absolutes
Hmm.
of, like you said, like, I said yes to this, so everything I just have to have everything
I
else
have to.
has to be this
Yep.
way, or I said no, and then everything's no,
Yep.
or I'm angry about this, so I'm angry about all of this, right?
Hmm.
Instead of like, and it's uncomfortable, which is why we don't do it, why we're not
Yeah.
naturally inclined to sit with it and be like, okay, well, we said yes to this.
Hmm.
And maybe the second thing is it's a yes also, right?
Yeah.
The third thing,
Mm,
it feels kind of, I don't know how I
yeah.
feel about that. I'm gonna have to sit with that for a little bit. Well, that's where we're
Right.
kind of like, okay, I'm out. It's I don't want to do that anymore, right? But that is where, I mean, that's where the good stuff is too, right?
Hmm.
That's where you like that's where the growth is. And that's where if you like can it takes, you just
Hmm.
practice and just like questioning it. Like, why does this make me feel uncomfortable?
Hmm.
Why don't I want to do this? Or why do I,
Or why do I?
right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. You said yes to a job. Well, guess
Right.
what? You may not like every piece of it, but you said yes to it. You want to follow through. Okay. Well, sometimes you have to put up with things
Yeah.
and it's not automatic.
No.
Like the more we take responsibility for it, it doesn't matter why it showed up ultimately.
Right.
It's in front of us. So what are we going to do about it?
Yep.
And talk about a good principle for kids. Like they're going to be in any number of situations. You want you want that new car, you want that new iPhone, you wanna live a life that looks a certain way. Well, guess what? There's some things that come along. I mean, you might work a job that you might not necessarily like entirely, but if it gets you what you want because you said yes to this, okay. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean you have to like it. Doesn't mean
No.
you have to be okay with it fully. But it does mean to just kinda go, "Right, well, either one, it's maybe not worth it. Maybe I have to reevaluate what I thought was
Exactly.
important, or maybe I might be inspired to go figure out a different way to find those things again." I mean, who knows? The possibilities exist. We actually have to be looking, though, to find them.
That's
They're not gonna be
exactly
handed.
right. That's exactly right. Well, and I think too, sometimes we think, well, there's only, you know, this option or this option. Right? It's one
Mhm.
or the other when there's really like a thousand options in between.
Right. Yep.
And so, that's so funny that you said the job thing, 'cause that's exactly where my daughter is, who just graduated from college, and she's in a job that she does not necessarily like.
Nope.
It's in her major, it is what
Mm.
she thought she wanted to do, but now she's in this job and she is like, I really don't like it." But she is saying, "I'm thinking I'd like to go back to get my master's. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
stay in this job for a year or 2 because
Yep.
that's a good idea for me to have experience before I go back and get my master's," right? So
Mhm.
it's fun to, like, sit with her and have her kind of as she's processing it all out loud and the options, as she's finding the options that are in between.
Right.
And the gift with that is just me staying quiet, right? I don't say anything.
Yep.
I mean, I validate, I acknowledge, but I don't,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
do you want me to
You
weigh in or
support.
do you not, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Support doesn't mean agreement or even disagreement. It just means, as much as I don't like the hallmarky phrase of holding space, it really does have a great kernel of truth in it.
It really does.
It just means being,
Yes, like
there.
being there with
Yeah.
them. I know I have not found a
Yeah.
better phrase for it because it just
Mhm.
does work, but I'm with you. I'm so bummed. So good for so long and now just not.
Yeah.
But yes, so that is a good one. It's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very cool. So, okay, so as we get into then the rest of these holidays and some of the traditions you're seeing and some of the stuff you're kind of looking back on, so you have conversations with a lot of other people. And have you noticed any kind of shift over time with how people are talking about, the holidays when it comes to how they work with families and in particular as they work with kids who are trying out new things and seeing, hey, having conversations that at least generationally, people seem to have forgotten that about every other generation or so, there seems to be like, we're going to try, we're going to rock the boat a bit as to what is and isn't so called appropriate to try out. It's the old thing of, kids these days, and which is always like, I love quoting Socrates and Aristotle then, who used to lament, the kids these days don't have enough experience to appreciate, responsibility. And you're like, wow, it's been
Yeah,
around for a while. But
it
this,
has. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, actually it's that has been a fun thing to kind of watch over the years. And I think there's a little bit of empowerment
Hmm.
that has come into play. But certainly, and it also goes to your yes and being
Hmm.
able to set boundaries with family, whether it's family members or family gatherings or whatever, you name it. But being able to, I think that is something that our generation
Hmm.
did not learn until a little bit later in life. It was not something that was taught to us. And so to be able to learn to do that, to practice it because it's hard,
Hmm.
and to then become clear on what your boundaries are, and then to be able to articulate them to somebody
Hmm.
else it takes some practice, it takes some time, and it takes some courage because it's hard, especially if you are setting boundaries with people that you've always had the same tradition with,
Hmm.
or, you know, close family members, especially if, it is a family member, like a parent that is getting a little bit older. There's a lot of pieces in there that make it a little messier, right? A little
Hmm.
more uncomfortable. And having those boundaries in place I have seen them work wonders with communication,
Hmm.
with and I mean, like, communication on both sides, like, those people setting the boundaries and those receiving, saying,
Right.
"Oh, like, okay, well, I want this relationship to work. I want to be able to see my grandkids or
Hmm.
spend a holiday with my nieces and nephews, then okay, I agree to, I see your boundary, I
Right.
respect it, and okay." I think there's also a really great piece of this that I've seen people successfully do, which is really listening to their kids
Hmm.
and allowing them to be part of the process. So, for example, let's say that, it's a preteen who is, just kind of, whether it's curious about their gender, curious about their sexuality,
Hmm.
they are wherever they are on, in that journey. Let's
Hmm.
say they're on the journey, right?
Yeah.
And that is something that either the parent or somebody is not comfortable with communicating with, the other the other.
Hmm.
This is very vague, sorry. Really didn't plan this out very well. But
Yeah.
my point is allowing the child to be part of that conversation. So
Hmm.
allowing your child to say, yeah, I do feel I'm cool with going to grandma's house. Like, I'm
Yeah.
okay if grandma says something dumb, like, that doesn't bother
Hmm.
me. You know, Uncle Tommy makes me feel really upset when he says things like this, and I just don't feel up for being with him this year. Is that okay? So it's really more of just opening dialogue, right? Like having really open conversations of, okay, we're planning on these next 4 holidays, those get-togethers that we do every year are coming up. How's everybody feeling? Where are we right now? And just letting everybody talk it out. And if you miss one, and you've got to be okay with that. It is not the end of the world. So,
When that goes into that was a little bit of what we were talking about before the camera started rolling, so to speak. And the idea of not making something that is, I mean, really, it's one day or whatever, and
right,
making it into this big thing as if we've lost the fact that we're the ones that are giving meaning to this. It doesn't have it's like back to costumes having pronouns. It's fabric, people. It's
right,
okay.
exactly.
It's a made up day.
Yeah,
It doesn't hold anything intrinsic. It's okay to just be like, guess what? It's all right. I'm gonna order pizza today. We don't need to have, the so-called traditional whatever. I mean, I loved it when my family decided to finally just go, you know what? We are tired of spending all this time and all the dirt, the dirty dishes and all of it. And just go, we're gonna go to an all you can eat buffet. Since we're all about this is just gonna be what it is. I'm like, sweet, let's go.
that's good.
And we just loaded up the carbs and it was great.
Yeah.
It's just like, here we
I
go.
mean,
Why not?
right? Why not? Why not? And I think
Yeah,
that is, I mean, why not at minimum, like give yourself the gift of just re-examining what those traditions are, re-examining what those gatherings are. And does that work for you still? Does it work for your family still? Are you being authentically you when you're in those spaces? Or are you putting on an old costume that doesn't fit anymore?
fit. Yeah. Yep. It needs to be a t-shirt. It's good.
I
Yeah.
think so. That was good.
Yeah. Or the title of another book, you know? Are you putting on an old costume? I want royalties.
You are so getting royalties for that. That could be book 2.
My head's rolling
Maybe
with
we
this
just
one.
write a book together.
I'm saying it's possible. The audience that is not live has said yes.
I think you know what? I hear the cheering, actually.
It's in the background. It is working. Yeah.
I hear it.
Good times. Absolutely. Okay. Well, I don't know how we top that.
I don't either. I mean, that was pretty good,
Yeah.
if I do say so
Yeah.
myself.
Be aware. Don't
Yes.
be afraid to try on new stuff.
Do not be afraid to try on new stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, you're not getting younger.
Nope. Could be Spider-Man, could be Sequence. You know what?
Could
Rock it.
be a time traveler in Scotland.
It's true.
Maybe not, but I mean, you could
Maybe not.
pretend.
Not everybody
All
can be
right.
Claire and Jamie, but, you
All
do
right.
you.
Okay, it worked for a second. There's other things that it would work
There
for.
are there
I
are plenty of
mean,
other things.
right?
Oh, good times. Heather, as always, this is just fun.
It's
We will
so
do this again because you know what? It's our space, and we
it
can do what
is.
we want.
I
Yeah,
know. We
yeah.
can, which is super, super fun. And, I feel like every time we talk about a whole other realm of
Mhm.
like just cool stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
look out.
Mhm. The
Yeah,
audience,
I know.
it wants more.
Stay
Yeah,
tuned.
they
There
do.
will
Stay
be
tuned.
more.
There will be.
We are hearing the cheering.
We are very, very much. All right, you wanna make a plug? Give us where can people find your book?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, you can buy my book wherever books are sold.
Mhm.
Parenting with Pride,
Yep.
Unlearn Bias, Embrace, Empower, and Love Your LGBTQ plus team. The podcast is More Human, More Kind. I am doing a really fun thing. I just started, so this is what I'll plug today. I just started on Substack only for my paid Substack members, but it's
Okay.
15 bucks a month. So it's like,
Not that
two
bad.
cups of
Yeah,
coffee if you're a
yeah.
Starbucks drinker.
It's
Um,
true.
these days it's 2 cups. It used to be
Mhm.
3. Anyway, I'm doing every Friday live guided journaling.
Mm,
And so I'm starting with a meditation and then a live guided journaling session, about 25-35 minutes, and then
mhm.
ending with a Q&A. And it is bring whatever. I'm doing it on Zoom through Substack, so that
Right.
way you can be off camera and you can be off, like,
Okay.
not have your name. So
Yeah.
that helps with, like, people who really wanna
Mhm.
stay anonymous, which is something that's important, and I respect that. So we'll throw that out there as well, and it's at Heather Hester, so easy to
Yeah.
find.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. Okay. Well then,
alright.
as always, so much fun.
So much fun. Thanks for having me, David. It was so much
You're
fun.
very welcome.